Howard, you said to me in December when we sat down, you said we as a country about President Trump have a moral obligation to do everything we can to make sure that he and his team are successful. So as you take on your new role, Howard, as you step down from the CEO seat, are there ways that you want to work with this administration?
I think it's in our collective interest for the president and the administration to be successful, and I would do everything I can to make sure that that occurs. I have some differences philosophically, but we're all Americans, and I think this is a time that we all recognize is very fragile here at home and fragile around the world, and we need to do everything we can to heal the nation, to come together for a more compassionate society, and as I said, I think a more compassionate government.
Let's talk, Kevin, about the United States sort of versus the world. This is a president that has an America First doctrine. He's been very clear about that throughout. Do you worry, as the CEO of a truly global company, about America's reputational stance around the world right now when you have a lot of talk about isolationist policies, anti-free trade policies? As you talk to global leaders, business leaders, how should we be seeing this? What is their response? Do they see it as America increasingly versus the world?
Well, certainly, I think there's a lot of discussion and interest in the new administration and the policies. I think as a consumer brand, we want to stay focused on doing what we do well, which is connecting with customers that walk into our Starbucks stores, serving them a wonderful handcrafted beverage, and creating that warm, welcoming place in all of our stores around the world. And certainly as an American brand, sometimes that politics in the United States can carry over to the brand.
Howard, any thoughts on that? I know you talk to a lot of not only business leaders around the world, but political leaders.
I was in Europe a week and a half ago. I think the question you get more often than not is lots of questions about the country, the administration, and the president.
Let me ask you this. There are sort of two sides to President Trump, Howard, and the American economy. There's the economic optimism that he's created. There's the stock market boom that we have seen. There are these expected tax cuts, which a lot of business leaders like a whole lot. And then there's the question marks on other big policies like trade, what's going to happen, like immigration, what's going to happen, et cetera. Is President Trump good for the American economy? More specifically, Howard, is President Trump good for Starbucks?
Well, I think it's still very early days. There certainly has been a lot of rhetoric, and we will have to see. I think that Starbucks has demonstrated over 40-plus years of our unique ability to navigate successfully through lots of cyclical changes in the economy and political administration. So I'm very confident, as Kevin said, that we will be able to do that. However, just speaking specifically, I hope that we get to a place where the people who need it the most in America are given a fair shot, and the promises that were made during the campaign in terms of lowering taxes and creating jobs and bringing manufacturing back. I think all those things will be very positive for the country and very positive for Starbucks.
Let me ask you this, Kevin. There was an interesting study just recently done out of Duke. And they found that 67% of chief financial officers, CFOs, do believe that the president can improve the business climate if he stops tweeting. What camp do you fall in on the tweets?
Well, I'll let the president decide his form of communication choice. But, I think much of what what Americans look for is some stability and some predictability in terms of where we're going and how we're going to get there. And I think that having that become a more certain direction, I think, would be helpful for everyone.
We're living in an environment today where there's been such a fracturing of trust and confidence in many institutions and obviously political leaders. And I would offer the fact that I think what's needed most in our leaders domestically and around the world and in institutions is a high degree of authenticity and the currency of trust. And I think elevating a level of trust and truthfulness and authenticity is what the country needs and what the world needs.
Has the president undermined that trust, Howard, by making baseless, evidence-free claims?
That's not for me to say.
Kevin, what's the number one thing that you would like to see from this administration as it pertains to your business? I mean, to the business environment. What is issue number one for you?
Well, I think certainly having more certainty about some of the policies, whether that's trade policies in particular. I think having more certainty about trade policies would be most helpful.
Howard, I'm intrigued by something you told me in December when we spoke on the day that you announced you were stepping down as CEO. You said to me, given the state of things in the country, there is a need to help those left behind. What does that mean for you next? In what way do you hope to be able to do that?
I think we have to ask the question going forward, what is the core purpose and reason for being for America? And I'm committed to doing everything I can as a private citizen to, as I said, try and elevate the national conversation about these issues, to work with other like-minded CEOs and companies, and to engage with other political leaders domestically and around the world where I can make a difference and offer my insight and perspective. And I'm committed to doing so. So that's in my heart right now. I'm very, very concerned about the fragile nature of the world and the uncertainty in America, and want to do everything I can to really improve the situation for those people who do not have a voice.
You endorsed Hillary Clinton in the election. You've been outspoken about your disappointment with some of the actions the president has taken and words he's used. But I wonder if you're in the same camp as Warren Buffett, who also endorsed Hillary Clinton, but continuously tells me he is very bullish about the future of America and that America's best days are ahead of itself. Do you agree with that assessment, Howard, that the best days are still ahead for this country?
I completely agree with that. And I can look no further than our customers and our partners and what happens in our stores to really see the humanity and the spirit of the country. And I know in my heart that I have great faith in the American people, great faith in the institution and the ideal of America and the promise of America. And I agree with Warren Buffett. Our best days are ahead of us. And I want to do everything I can as a private citizen and the chairman of Starbucks to do everything I can to help that agenda and help those people who, as I said, do not have a voice.
Kevin?
Yeah, I would agree as well, Poppy. I think Howard said it well, and I think you take a long-term perspective on these things, and I think America is a great country with a great future ahead.